Gracias por estar aquí. I'm going to read one poem. I'm very, very happy to hear the work again of Ilya and Rita. And it's a deep honor for all of us to be with Elena Poniatowska. My poem is called The Museum of Stones. These are your stones, assembled in matchbox and tin, collected from roadside culvert and viaduct, battlefield, threshing floor, basilica, abattoir. Stones loosened by tanks in the streets, from a city whose earliest map was drawn in ink on linen. Schoolyard stones in the hand of a corpse. Pebble from Baudelaire's We. Stone of the mind within us, carried from one silence to another. Stone of cromlech and cairn, schist and shale, hornblende, agate, marble, millstones, ruins of choirs and shipyards, chalk, marl, mudstone from temples and tombs, stone from the silvery grass near the scaffold, stone from the tunnel lined with bones, lava of a city's entombment, stones chipped from lighthouse, cell wall, scriptorium, paving stones from the hands of those who rose against the army, stones where the bells had fallen, where the bridges were blown. Those that had flown through windows, weighted petitions, feldspar, rose quartz, blue schist, Nice and Chert. Fragments of an abbey at dusk. Sandstone toe of a Buddha, mortared at Bamyan. Stone from the hill of 3 crosses and a crypt, from a chimney where storks cried like human children. Stones newly fallen from stars, a stillness of stones, a heart, altar and boundary stone, marker and vessel, first cast, load and hail, bridge stones and others to pave and shut up with, stone apple, stone basil, beech berry, stone break, concretion of the body, as blind, as cold, as deaf. All earth a quarry, all life a labor. Stone-faced, stone drunk with hope that this assemblage of rubble, taken together, would become a shrine or holy place, an ossuary, immovable and sacred, like the stone that marked the path of the sun as it entered the human dawn. Okay, thank you.
CAROLYN, did you say too, can we be greedy?
Well, I could read The Boatman, which is a poem about refugees, which is very much an issue of our time. These refugees are those from the other side of the world, making their way from Iraq, from Afghanistan, from Syria. This refugee is fleeing Syria, and he makes his way through the Aegean. I meet him much later in Milwaukee, when several times he picked me up in his taxi and gave me a ride one winter. And finally, we realized that we had coincidentally met several times, and we sat in a snowfall, and he told me his story on the condition that I would report his story. And I was thinking I would write something in prose, but it came in a poem. The Boatman. We were 31 souls, he said, in the gray sick of sea, in a cold rubber boat, rising and falling in our filth. By morning, this didn't matter. No land was in sight. All were soaked to the bone, living and dead. We could still float, we said, from war to war. What lay behind us but ruins of stone, piled on ruins of stone? City called Mother of the Poor, surrounded by fields of cotton and millet. City of jewelers and cloak makers, with the oldest church in Christendom and the sword of Allah. If anyone remains there now, they would be utterly alone. There is a hotel named for it in Rome, 200 meters from the Piazza di Spagna, where you can have breakfast under the portraits of film stars. There, the staff cannot do enough for you. But I am talking nonsense again, as I have since that night we fetched a child, not ours, from the sea, drifting face down in a life vest, its eyes taken by fish or the birds above us. After that, Aleppo went up in smoke, and Raqqa came under a rain of leaflets warning everyone to go. Leave, yes, but go where? We lived through the Americans and Russians, through Americans again, many nights of death from the clouds, mornings surprised to be waking from the sleep of death, still unburied and alive, with no safe place. Leave, yes, we'll obey the leaflets, but go where? To the sea to be eaten? To the shores of Europe to be caged? To Camp Misery and Camp Remain Here? I ask you then, where? You tell me you are a poet. If so, our destination is the same. I find myself now the boatman, driving a taxi at the end of the world. I will see that you arrive safely, my friend. I will get you there.